Today's project on my 2010 F-150 Platinum behind me is to flush out the radiator. So the first thing I did was put it up on ramps to make it easier to access underneath, just because I have a 5-gallon bucket that I'm going to be draining this out into. So I've got it up on ramps. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the bucket. We're going to empty it out. Now it is already cooled off. Make sure it's cooled off before you go through this process. It is already cooled off, so that is step one for me anyway. Definitely want to make sure it is 100% cool. I'm going to be taking out the thermostat, replacing the thermostat as well on this. I haven't had any issues with it, but just because I'm going to take the thermostat out when I'm flushing it out, just so that way it stays open, circulates that water a little bit better while I am doing this flush. Now, first thing first, you need to drain it, right? So the little drain plug is right there. So I'm on the passenger side in front of the wheel. If you find this, look straight up there, that's where your drain plug is going to be for your radiator. Now what I had to do was I had to get a pair of pliers up in there and just turn it a smidge at a time. So I got these guys, turned it a smidge at a time till it was loose enough where I could do it on my own. And as you can see, it is literally splashing all over the place because I don't have a hose for it, but we're just gonna go ahead and let it drain. Thankfully my bucket is big enough where it's catching all of it, not letting any run all over the place. But as you can see, it is an absolute joy to get to, unless you have a hose where that drain is at, running down. That would make it a bit easier, but I don't have one of those, so here we go. I want to show you what it looks like. So after it's unscrewed, it'll still stay stuck in there a little bit, and you just have to kind of pull on it a tiny bit because you've got those two things there. And once you pull it, then it's going to drain considerably faster out of there. Now, you are not going to drain all of it out, which is why we are flushing this. So what I'm doing is I'm draining out this old antifreeze coolant, draining that all out. Then I'm going to put the plug in, put distilled water in, clean it, run it through, 10-15 minutes, and then go back and forth with that. So you're not going to get it all out the first time. So don't expect you're going to get 30 quarts or anything like that out. It's just not going to happen. You're probably going to get maybe 2-ish gallons out of this and combine with the reservoir. Now, let me show you what the reservoir looks like and how to do that. So essentially you're just going to disconnect your hose, which I've done here, and you're just going to stick it down there because the hose is not long enough. So I went ahead and took this part out. So this is going to be my air box. I took my air box out, totally took that off of there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of run the hose down through that little hole right there. It's not super long, doesn't come out easily, but I'm going to run the hose down through there, and then that should empty out my coolant reservoir. So it's about done draining. There's still just a drip here and there. So I'm going to put the plug back in. Then I'm going to move the bucket over to this side. As you can see, this is where it was running when I put that hose down there. So I'm going to move the bucket over to there, put the hose down, and drain out the reservoir. So this is what it looks like when draining. And truthfully, it's not too terribly bad. It looked far worse than the reservoir. So maybe the reservoir was just filthy, or maybe they had put something into like a green into the reservoir, because this is supposed to be either yellow or orange in the F-150, depending on when they changed this last. So, and it looks kind of yellow-orangish, so that's actually not too terribly bad, because if it was yellow, okay, it's old, or if it's orange, okay, it's old, but it doesn't look near as bad as what it did in the reservoir. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to grab a hose, and I'm going to go ahead and wash out the reservoir, because there's still a bunch of junk just kind of sitting in the bottom there, and it may just be because the reservoir is kind of black at the bottom. That's why it looks like that, and it's actually still not too terribly bad. It just kind of looks kind of funky because of the way that it is. So, but I'm going to go ahead and rinse it out. I've already started, so may as well finish.